Hey everybody, good Sunday afternoon to you. I hope it's been a good one. I wanted to touch base with you this afternoon since we did not have service this morning. And I know that with the recent, um, pandemic is now what it's officially being termed of COVID-19, that many of our lifestyles, not only this week, but probably in the weeks, maybe even months to come, our lifestyles will be somewhat disrupted. And so I wanted to share a couple of passages of Scripture with you this afternoon and hopefully offer some not only truth but some encouraging words as well as we travel through the next few days, weeks, and months to come. One of those passages is from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I know that many of you are very familiar with this passage, but I think it's very fitting for recent events. And this is what the passage says: that there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. God has made everything appropriate in its time. And so our takeaway from that is that we know that God is absolutely in control. He's on the throne. He is sovereign. And that this virus is not by chance or coincidence. And that for whatever reason, it's appropriate for this time. And so what should be our response to this? How should we look at this? How should we live our days, over the next weeks and months to come in light of Ecclesiastes 3, knowing that for whatever reason, this is God's appointed time for this event to be happening, not only in America and now Kentucky and I think every state except for one now, but worldwide. I think what we do is we simply trust God. We live and we trust that God has this, and it's for our good, but most of all for His glory. But also, I think what we do is we follow sound, factual wisdom that is being filtered down to us from not only government and leadership, but also experts. We've been receiving a lot of information lately about good hygiene and social distancing and just practices and steps that we can take to hopefully avoid a rapid outbreak of COVID-19 to the point that other countries have already experienced, to where they did not have the healthcare system in place to adequately take care of everyone simultaneously. And so I think we need to be wise and follow the advice and wisdom of those who are over us. Let me read a couple of verses to you from the book of Romans, chapter 13. We mentioned this in one of our posts a couple of days ago, but I think it's pertinent and worth re-mentioning. Romans 13, 1-4. Every person is to be in subjection to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those which exist are established by God. For rulers are not a cause of fear for good behavior, but for evil. Do you want to have no fear of authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For it is a minister of God to you for good. And so those who have authority over us, and those who are in leadership over us, and the experts in these fields that are passing down this information to us, they have been put in those places and established by God for this time and this season for a reason. And so we would do well, not only as believers, but also as the church, as Americans, as civilians, to do everything we can to follow these steps and this advice to a T, to hopefully, again, avoid rapid expansion of this virus to the point that we can't adequately take care of those who are in need. Also, I think something else that I wanted to share with you guys this afternoon is coming from Mark chapter 6. And really just one verse. These are the words of Jesus speaking to his disciples. He said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest for a while." You know, we can't even begin to know fully what God is doing in the midst of all this and the reasoning behind all of it. But perhaps maybe this would be a great time, while we are already naturally socially distancing ourselves to help avoid a rapid outbreak of COVID-19, that we use this as an opportunity to spend time with God, time away with God. Jesus would often do that. He would get away from the crowds and the business and the craziness of life and to spend time with his Father. And so while we're distancing ourselves and spending more secluded, isolated time at home with our families, this would be a great opportunity for us to really hone in and zero in on our relationship with God. Spend that time in prayer and fasting, reading scripture, worship and praise, and of course spending good quality time with your family. Lastly, there have been a couple of comments lately by those of you at River Point who are faithful givers through your tithes and offerings. You either put money or check in the offering, the baskets we have available, or you use the square at church, and you're wondering how you can continue to give of your tithes and offerings. It's something that we've already had in place for several months. Tithely. It is an online giving portal that is already set up and established, and Rochelle's going to post a link to that at the end of this video. And so for those of you that maybe you've been giving checks or cash or using the square at church and you're looking for another opportunity or a way that you can give, you can certainly use Tithely. Love you guys. Hope you have a great week, and we'll keep you posted on services in the weeks to come. Thank you.